Hello everybody, this is ManuS and welcome back to another Eternal News episode with the monthly hero promo. We have the latest hero promo and it's a pretty interesting one, so let's take a look. And before we do, you know the drill. Subscribe down below, turn on the notification icon to not miss out on future content. And now let's check out the promo. Alright, the new promo is called Traver'S Farm, so some stranger Horus Trevor related stuff, pretty flavorful. And as the name already implies, it's a site. There's a lot of lore to read about if you want to. As usual, you'll find it in the description down below. Here's the card. Traver'S Farm. Pretty straightforward. It's a site. Costs 4. Strangers cost 1 less, so that's actually kind of a nice addition there. Gives you some explosive turn 5. If you can drop this on 4 and protect it. And then as agenda we have Stranger's Mark, which turns a unit of your choice into a stranger. Not that big of a deal because I think usually there won't be any or hardly any non-strangers in your stranger deck. If you're running a market, you have a merchant or smuggler that you can turn into a stranger, so that's pretty nice. It makes it a lot easier to run a market in a stranger deck without any downside. So that's kind of big because Stranger's Mark itself was not very playable itself, since you don't really want to invest a card for that effect. It's just too bad, like too low impact of an effect to cost a whole card as a resource. Then we have Reunite, so this also tutors us our best stranger. Like for example, you can play a single Triumphant Stranger to tutor with the Reunite, and a couple of other options. Reunite, once again, a bit too clunky and slower of an effect for how strangers usually play out, because they are more of like a medium-sized beatdown deck that just kind of overwhelm the opponent with tribal synergies, but having that attached to a card like this is pretty huge. And then we have Unity Within, which is the most powerful effect and a new card that we will probably see in the next set, if I would guess. So far we have not seen cards that are on sites but don't exist in the game. Usually, if that was the case, they were backdoor spoilers for an upcoming set, so I would assume Unity Within will be in the new set, Echoes of Eternity. It's a 2-cost spell, gives one of your unit and each of your units that share a type with it +1/+1, so that's actually a pretty interesting card to come for various tribes. It's not just a stranger-specific card, but obviously it's also great in strangers. And if you drop the side, you basically immediately buff the units you already have, making it easier to defend the side. Then the side having 4 durability as a 4-cost side is also pretty big, makes it kind of not that easy to remove. And yeah, like, this card's really cool. They're really ramping up their promo game, I think. Lately we've seen a lot of interesting, very solid promos that even spawn new archetypes like Mandrake. So I'm much more happy with the kind of promos we are getting lately that actually do interesting things to deck building and constructed, and are not just like, okay, this is kind of funny or flavorful or whatever, but useless. So this is all of it. It's flavorful, it's kind of cool, and it's actually pretty good too. So definitely gonna be dusting off my old strangers, rethinking them a bit and tuning them and see what they can do. Maybe they're actually like a viable deck now. Probably not tier 1, but maybe like a viable medium tier deck that you can actually play and have a good win rate with. And once the agenda is complete, you get a Triumphant Stranger, which is actually really powerful. So also a really powerful payoff once you go through the entire agenda. So yeah, the card does it all. Like, as far as a stranger side goes, I would argue the side is as good as I could have imagined it if I would have imagined the stranger side. It's really good. And one final change that is noted here. When this promo goes live, Varret, hero in training, and his transformations will be updated to the stranger unit type. So that's another big deal. We get a 2-cost stranger with good utility that just is a really strong card on its own, making Varret also more interesting and strong. Worth noting, for anyone that didn't notice it before, Varret is an anagram of Trevor, something that I actually never thought about. Like, I obviously noticed that Varret looks strikingly like Trevor, and I thought it's probably like some code name or whatever, and will maybe later be revealed that it is Trevor in disguise. But it's just like literally not just a code name, it's an anagram, and I just never like thought about it or checked if it could be an anagram for anything, and it just never crossed my mind. And I felt a bit silly when someone pointed it out to me on our Discord the other day. But yeah, not hard to spot the striking similarity visually, but the anagram just completely went by me because I never like spent even a second thinking of it. But yeah, now you know, for anyone else that was as blindsided by it as I was. But yeah, anyway, this site is pretty cool. The change to Varret is also a pretty big deal. Also might make strangers a bit more interesting in Expedition, between the site and between Varret being a good stranger with a more limited stranger pool. Would have to actually check like what strangers we have in Expedition. I think there are barely any, so it might just not be a thing. But it's at least like worth looking into. But I think they put almost no strangers in Expedition at all. I just don't know, but from like when I look back at like images on my mind, I just can't think of any. Actually, let's just check, because I don't think there are. Wait, Expedition, Stranger. This is not Expedition. Why is this not properly filtering for Expedition? No, this is not properly filtering. Because I don't think there are a lot. Yeah, just like I thought, there are basically none. Like, just Varret and the farm, so that's not happening. Because I couldn't remember every time I checked, I couldn't remember having seen any strangers when going through the collection looking for cards when brewing decks and stuff. Anyway, really cool promo. Big thumbs up to Direwolf for the promos recently. Hope this quality of promo is being kept up. Pretty happy. There's also a deck list here. They called it Stranger Danger too. Like, that's what I've been calling the Stranger deck from day one when I first built the Stranger deck, like way back in like set 1 or set 2. And yeah, so it's kind of just like the obvious name you want to go to. Bit of a weird list, lots of one-offs, but I mean that's what these sample decks usually are, just to show some concepts, have a lot of diversity of cards, and also because you can get them if you buy the promo with gems. They're supposed to be sort of like pre-constructed decks showing interesting stuff to new players, so they're not usually actually relevant for like serious strategy attempts, but sometimes the core direction that these decks go can be an interesting inspiration for like a real, more refined attempt at a deck. Alright, I'll link the article down below as usual, so let me know in the comments what you think of Traver's Farm. I'm quite excited. We'll try it out on stream once I have 3 or 4. And yeah, that's it again for this time. You know the drill. If you want to support me, check the description down below. Make sure your ad block is turned off or whitelisted. That also helps other content creators you like to watch. And yeah, like, subscribe, share, all the stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.